And we're live. Alhamdulillah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to Halal Stock Hunters Pick of the Week. And later on, we'll be having our midweek review. My name is Afiq, Chief Finance Ninja at First Free Finance, co-founder at Halal Investing Network. And this is my good buddy.
IRD here from Proteus Network and also Halal Invest Network. Okay, today we're going to take a look at several stocks. And yes, back to you, Afiq.
Alhamdulillah. And so, as always, disclaimers do apply, folks. We do this for edutainment, education, and entertainment purposes. So before you do anything, do your own due diligence. We do have some stock picks here and there, but they are by no means recommendations. You have to speak to a qualified professional and do your own planning before you buy anything. And so, as always, let's go into the first stock of the week. I was looking at this particular one, which I thought was very, very interesting. It is PACB, Pacific Biosciences of California. Now, the reason I thought this was really interesting was, well, number one, my wife is in cancer science. And when I started reading about PACB, they start doing gene sequencing systems. And I asked my wife, and I said, hey, have you heard of this particular company? She said, yeah, we use their machines and they are always getting better and better machines. They've got multiple versions, and what they do really is just gene sequencing. Now, what that actually means is they take a biosample, a sample from somebody's body, and they look at how the genes are arranged, right? The interesting thing about Pacific Bioscience is that while they're a relatively small company compared to the other giants in the market, they're also a little bit more nimble. And so when I looked at this particular company, it is not something that I would say they can actually compete with the big boys. I was reading the past history in the news. They were supposed to merge with another big company called Illumina, but that particular merger got blocked by the SEC. I suspect it was because, it would be way too big. And so when I looked at PACB, I was wondering to myself whether this would be a company that I will hold for long term. Short answer right now, no. I would say I'm going to look at it from a short term to a medium term play. And when I was looking at the charts, based on what Adi has taught me, I was saying maybe this could be something that we might want to play with in the short to medium term. It IPO'd in 2010 at $16 a share. Today, you can look at the price, and this is where Adi will show us his crystal ball. Adi.
Okay, thanks, Afiq, for the introduction to PACB. And let me just share my screen. All right, so here we have the PACB chart on the daily time frame. So this particular stock, as you can see, it launched in somewhere around 2010 at a price around $16, and it went to as low as $1. So yeah, for those people who bought at $1, I guess their investments right now 32x. Right, at $32, if they sold off at around 53, would be 53x. So you can see now the potential in stocks in the US stock market. It can be quite volatile, but when it goes your way, basically your investments can really grow, right? So at this point, if we are looking at we're going to take a look at the technicals of this particular stock. And after reaching the highs, right, price actually came back down to as low as around 24, and then it went lower to around $20. So we can see that, okay, we draw a slanting line here, that basically this is the structure that we have, right? Kind of like it's actually a bullish pennant, I would say. And as you can see, when price broke above this slanting line, it went above this line, and it starts to actually go higher, and it met resistance at around the $36, right? So you can see that. Let me just make this line thicker. Okay, so at $36, it met some resistance. You can see that this is a resistance level here, and then we have the resistance again at around this level on this particular date. And yeah, so right now it met resistance again, right? And what happens next is that price retrace lower, and we have support basically at around this level here, around the $25 zone. And right now, I would say that it's looking to go up some more. Why I say that is because at this point here, we draw a line and we can see that this slanting line here is broken now to the upside, and we see some bullish price action as well. This pintail candle, all right, this pintail candle here is looking quite bullish. It's a bullish setup, and you can see that after this bullish candle came about and it closed above the 9 moving average and closed above this particular slanting line, price maintains itself above, okay, this slanting line. And I believe that from here we might actually see, you know, retest towards the $36 level. So if you were to purchase at the current level of $32.15, that would easily give you about a 10% upside. What do you think, Afiq?
I think it looks awesome from what you're showing me. There is that potential for it to go up to that resistance of about 36, and we did see the swing low, the higher swing low that we can see there. What do you think? I mean, for me personally, again, short to medium term play, something that I wouldn't want to hold on for way too long, considering its past history. How long would you hold this for?
I would just hold it and, you know, liquidate at $36, take my 10% and leave.
All right. So fundamentally speaking, this company does do relatively well. It's a bit of a I wouldn't say a bad play, but I would say it's a short-term play. So if you are going to be looking into this, do your own due diligence, look shorter term, be very, very mindful of where you set your stop losses and where your take profit levels, okay? And so this is Pacific Biosciences of California. If you have got questions or you got anything to say, let us know in the comments below, because we want to read and want to know what you guys think about our particular hot stock pick. Now, this particular pick has been screened for Sharia compliance, so it is halal. But so as always, when you go into a trade, be very, very aware of your intention. Are you doing it to speculate? Are you really doing it with the right mindset? And so Islam is a religion based on niyat or intention. And so folks, check your intention. Adi, anything else you want to say about PACB? Do you think we should go into this?
I think we can actually go into this. We can put our TP for this particular trade. I would say that, you know, just have one TP for this particular trade. And after that, we of course need a stop loss. And I would say that we can position our stop loss somewhere below this swing, this pintail candle, just below, somewhere around $28. So I'll just mark it in red. Okay, so this could be our stop loss. So yeah, if it ever swings kind of lower and comes back into this slanting line, that means we can say that it's a false break, and having a false break after that, we would definitely want to just get out of this particular stock. But if it continues higher, and if it continues above this moving average that I've drawn, I think we are on our way to actually hit TP1 at $36 for a 10% gain.
Awesome. So I've keyed in my numbers for our TP1. We don't have a TP2 as of yet because TP1 is that first resistance. If it does break that first resistance, then we'll consider looking at TP2. When I look at this, PACB stop loss is at 28, right? Stop loss at 28.01. Okay.
Actually, if you really want to have a TP2, you got to actually plan for it right from the onset. So for this particular stock, if you really want a TP2, this previous resistance at around $41.50 could be your TP2. So Afiq, if you want to have a TP2, we have to actually plan for it from the beginning.
Okay, so TP2 at 41?
41.50, 41, yeah.
All right, so TP2 will be at the 41 zone. And so folks, when we say zone, doesn't mean that it has to necessarily just hit it, the exact number, plus minus $1 or $2 close to there, you can consider it hitting that zone. More on that when we do our midweek review, so stay tuned for that. Adi, any last words for PACB?
Nope, we can go on to the next one now.
All right, so I'm going to go on to our second stock pick for the week, which is actually, there you go. This is PACB. I was looking at BC, Brunswick Corporation. Now, the interesting thing about Brunswick Corporation is that it's been around for 175 years. Now, they've got a global presence. When you read up the history, they manufactured a lot of things. From the start all the way until now, 175 years in business, they've pivoted multiple times. So over the years, they've actually manufactured many things. Within the past few decades, they've done quite a bit in sporting and fitness equipment. Now, as I was reading up about them in 2020, they decided to go exclusively into marine. So they're building yachts and pleasure craft and boats and all. And they've got multiple headquarters in some very affluent countries, Dubai being one of them. And so when I was looking at their entire presence and their whole business model, they're catering to, of course, a bit more luxury. And when you start doing business, you start to understand that you either sell cheap to many people, or you sell high ticket to very few people, right? And their revenue in 2019 was $4 billion. And so Brunswick, for me, is a long-term play. I do like their fundamentals. They've been around for very long. They know what they're doing. And I think that this could be profitable when you hold long enough. Now, I brought it up today because when we looked at the charts, it looked like we could be a potential entry point potential. But let's listen to our Halal trader, Adi. Adi, all yours.
Okay. Okay, let me share my screen first. And okay, we have Brunswick Corporation on the daily time frame right now. So you can see that after dropping quite a bit during 2020's pandemic scare, I call it, right? So it went to as low as around the $25.73 level. After that, we saw that price continued in an uptrend. All right, so you can actually draw the slanting line here. Okay, let me draw from this top first. Okay, you want your line basically to be touching as many points as possible. So we can say that this is we have 4 points now touching this line. So we can extrapolate it lower, right? So you can see that it has basically touched these lows as well. And right now what we are seeing is we are seeing a higher swing lows actually, right? So we have a higher swing low here, and then another higher swing low here, and another one here, right? And as you can see, the price have actually moved higher. So this particular resistance here has been broken. And currently price is at another resistance level at this point, and it's dead smack on that point. So if we look at the current market overall, I would say that Dow Jones, and this is in Dow Jones, right? Part of the Dow Jones, or is it NASDAQ?
This is on NYSE actually.
NYSE, okay. So it's considered Dow. So I think that if it breaks this particular line, then we might see more upside, right? Because the resistance previously, the all-time high is around $117. Right now it's at 104. But usually for me, I would prefer to see a breakout above the resistance before I would enter a buy. So unless you want to take the risk of actually entering on a resistance level, which to me technically is not so sound. So even if it's a good stock, you might want to wait for it to retrace possibly towards this level. Let's turn it into another color, this purple line. Wait, let me just change it again. The style, okay, to a purple color so that you can, right? If it actually comes back to this purple line, that's where you can actually be buying. That is basically the $100 level. It's a round number. as well as a previous resistance, which now can become support. So Afiq, we can place a buy stop at $100 level. So if it goes there, we are in. If it is not, it doesn't come back, then we are not in the trade.
Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. So Adi, let's spend a couple of minutes to explain to our viewers out there what exactly is a buy stop.
Basically, a buy stop is a pending order, which means that it will be activated only when the price reaches that particular level. So, yep, it's basically a pending order.
All right. All right. So, folks, for those of you who are watching along and you are thinking that maybe BC is something that you want to get into, our advice right now would be hold on first, right? Buying in at a resistance can be very dangerous because, you know, it's a resistance. It tends to push the price down, the downward pressure. So while I think that Brunswick Corporation is a very interesting company to hold for the long term, I would be right now looking for a point to enter. So we're gonna wait for it to drop to maybe $100 and see whether it is worth to buy. Now that would mean that BC goes onto my watch list, and so I am not going to be buying in today, right, Adi?
Yep. So, but we are going to buy the previous one, right?
Yeah, that's PACB. That's
okay.
Pacific BioScience.
Yep. So yeah, we're going to wait for on this one, but for the previous stock, I think it's a good entry point. So yeah, we have to actually look at each stock. First of all, look at the stock that look at its technical structure, look where it is at the point in time. And of course, the fundamentals is covered by Afiq, and he also ensures that these are all Sharia compliant stocks. And yeah, you have to have that process. And I think we do share with our community as well as our students of our course the steps that they need to take in order before they actually do a trade or an investment in any asset. Right, Afiq?
Absolutely. Now, they always say this: the war is won before it is fought. Was it the battle is won before it is fought? What this means is you're going to have a plan. You're going to have a plan that lays out your strategy, that lays out your risk mitigation strategy, that lays out how you're going to take your profit, rather than just buying blindly. I mean, ultimately, when we just speculate, and that's, you know, my share gambling, and it's haram, by the way, you tend to rely on random charts. What we're trying to do is we are trying to analyze, making sure our fundamentals are there, making sure the technicals are there, and having the right plan before we go into it. This is just one example of how we use our plans. Like, we have a set of rules that we follow, and if you want more about how the kind of rules we follow, you've got to join our VIP circle. Just go to our website, halalinvestingnetwork.com, and you'll find out how you can enter our VIP circle there. And my point is, have a plan. And if you need help coming up with a plan, come to us. Okay, so this particular counter, Brunswick Corporation, we're not going into, we're going to hold off for now. We're just going to watch for an entry point later on. Adi, any last words for British Columbia? Any last words for Brunswick Corporation?
I'm okay. So we're gonna basically end this, right, and proceed on to the next session.
There we go. And so that was Halal Stock Hunter's pick of the week. Look out for our midweek review. Just stay tuned. Just give me 1 second. There we go.